Do you want to save time and make your daily routine a lot faster? Well, today we're going to tackle a small but really impactful change that you can make in your house, organizing your shoe space. Today we're tackling a small but impactful organizational change, your shoe space. The change we're going to make today is quite simple, but at the same time, really impactful. I estimate that this change is saving us about 2 minutes per person per day. That adds up rather quickly when you think about a family of 4. In just one day, we save 8 minutes. In a week, we save about an hour. In a full year, we save about 48 hours. This time adds up, and this time can be used to do what you value most. And I'm here to help you squeeze the most out of life. Hi, my name is Randall Ferguson, and I have been a manufacturing process engineer for over 20 years. That's a lot of time. I have saved big companies millions of dollars and tons of time. Today, I want to share with you some of the secrets that I've used to actually save those companies time, and I'm using it today on our shoe storage area. So come with me, watch how I use some of those skills that I learned to optimize our shoe organization. So why would we want to organize our shoe area? The reality is that shoes are a high use item. Everyone in your household uses shoes at least 4 times a day. And that is just you interacting with your shoes, putting them on, taking them off. If you go out of the house twice, you're going to interact with your shoes 4 times in a day. If you go in and out a little bit more, you're looking at 6. This is a high traffic area. This is a high use area, and each person in your household is going to be interacting with these shoes all the time. And that's why there's a lot of payoff if you can organize your shoe space really well. In a family setting, a shoe space can get really chaotic and could be hazardous. It's important to actually wrangle this area together and make it so that it's not going to be a hazard and that it's not going to be chaotic. A chaotic shoe area leads to lost shoes and wasted time, and we are going to stop wasting our time. Today we are going to go over a case study, our shoe area. The problem with our shoe area was that it was really disorganized, it was really chaotic, and honestly, we hadn't made many moves to really make it organized. It was even a little dangerous for us to walk through. There were some times when I went to go through the garage that I actually tripped on shoes. And in many cases, it was very difficult for us to find the shoes. If my kids needed to get out the door rapidly, I might spend a minute or 2 looking for the right shoes. And that was really not working for us. And I really wanted to make it more efficient. And the space really wasn't working for the whole family. Everyone in our family was really having problems. It wasn't just me, it wasn't just my wife, it was also my kids. When we went to look for our shoes, we were having a tough time finding them, and we needed a solution that was going to fix it. So here is our storage area, and we have some things here that we'll need to just kind of get rid of or get moved to other area. So this is reality, right? Nothing is perfect from the start. So we're going to tackle this, and we're going to start taking care of this by trying things on and then also sorting out all these random things and getting them out of the way. Comment below if you have a place that's like this in your house, because I know we all do. I started out by calling a family meeting, as dads often do. And when I got my family together, we sat down and we talked about what everyone's needs and requirements were. And for me, the primary need that I wanted was I needed a place to kick off my shoes and leave them at the end of the day. And I needed a place to rapidly put on my shoes. I also needed a place to store some of my shoes, but I didn't have very many shoes. And honestly, I thought we just needed to go through a lot of the shoes and get rid of a lot of the extra shoes that we had in our inventory, because I thought, oh, most of these shoes were just going to be not useful at all and were ready to be donated or thrown away.
Probably the hardest part of this meeting is getting everyone to sit at the table.
Get everyone sit at the table. This is the challenge of continuous improvement. So kids, here's the thing. We got this problem. The problem is that we have shoes everywhere out in our entryway. The problem is we need to organize this, but I want to put in place a process that we're all going to follow. But I need to make sure that you guys are interested in following this as well, because if we don't all agree to do the process, then what can happen is that the process doesn't get done. When I spoke to my kids, they didn't have too much of an opinion on it. They were more just, okay, whatever you guys want to go with, we'll go with that. So that wasn't too difficult. But when it got to my wife, I said, okay, a lot of these shoes that are in this area are yours. What do we need to do with these shoes? Can we donate a lot of these shoes? Can we get rid of these shoes?
My concern is that I have, I'm going to work, I'm in a rush, I'm in a time sensitive situation, and the things I need to be easily accessible, and that's not going to be 2 pairs of shoes.
Okay, so I mean, it's going to be 2 pairs of shoes on the ground, and then everything else on storage behind it. So it's still going to be easy to access.
So I can still have a disproportionate amount of the storage for me.
Yes, you
Good.
can.
Those are my needs.
Those are your sacrifices must be made.
Okay.
And she went on to tell me that, you know what, she needed these shoes for all these different reasons. She had different situations where she needed different shoes, and she needs to actually cycle her shoes through because she spends a lot of time on her feet. So she actually needed to have a whole bunch of different shoes that she could use for different situations. It's really important that when you are doing any of these changes, that you really take to heart anything that anyone says in these family meetings. It's important because if they don't get buy-in, if they aren't included, if they aren't taken into account, then you can guarantee they are not going to implement whatever process change you try and put out there. If I were to just go and throw away a bunch of her shoes and say, hey, this is the new process, my wife would A, flip her lid, and then B, she wouldn't do the process, right? So it's important when you make any of these process changes to make everyone feel included, to make everyone feel like they have buy-in, to make sure that you actually are able to implement this change. Shoes on 3.
Okay.
Shoes on 3.
What? Wait. On 3 or after 3?
On 3. 1, 2, 3. Shoes! After 3. I guess it's after. 1, 2, 3. Shoes! Okay, let's go. It was very important that I had this family meeting to kick all of this off, because my initial plan was to just get rid of a lot of shoes, reuse some of our existing shoe storage, and then consolidate it, put some floor tape on the floor for places for people to kick off their shoes, so that way it was really designated. And when I got the feedback from my wife that she really needed to keep a lot of these shoes, I found out that, oh, okay, my current storage solution I had was just not going to work. It was too small. It was not going to fit all of our shoes, and it was not going to grow with us. As our kids grow older, they're going to need more shoes. They're going to have more requirements. They're going to have more needs. Frankly, what we currently had just wasn't going to work effectively for us. So we needed a new organizational solution. So the new plan included a much more vertical storage solution. So that way we could take advantage of a lot of the wall that really wasn't being used currently and make sure that we are using all of our area in the most effective way. Here's our step-by-step process to optimize our shoe organization. We started with really just decluttering. There were a ton of old shoes that we had in inventory, and we had a bunch of shoes that didn't fit our kids. We had shoes that we weren't using anymore, and we had to make some tough choices about things we wanted to keep and what we wanted to donate. Okay, so we're gonna start with trying on some shoes here. And the
kids weren't into it.
Of course, so we are pretending that they are Cinderella. We culled it down to a smaller number of shoes, but that still ended up being quite a few number of shoes. But it was important for us to do this step first. So now we did some sorting. We sorted out our shoes and we said most of these things are frequently used. These are things like sandals where we use them frequently, maybe around the house, or we have tennis shoes that we use all the time. We sorted those into an area that was frequently used, and then we had things that were more really rare use, like snow boots. We only use those maybe 3 times a year. So it's important to take those things and separate those from the rest of the things that we regularly use. So now it comes to our storage solution. We chose to use a Kallax 4x4 storage solution. This is basically a 4x4 cubby hole, and this is really optimum for us storing all of our shoes. We also chose a storage ottoman that we already had, and what we did was we took all of those rare use shoes that we had, and we put those rare use shoes in this storage ottoman. One thing I want to emphasize here is that just because we decide to get a storage solution doesn't necessarily mean that we need to spend a lot of money on the storage solution. You can go to Facebook Marketplace and find IKEA Kallax organizers for relatively cheap. And I highly recommend that you search on Facebook Marketplace first, or Craigslist, and see if you can find something on the cheap that's local before you go to the store and buy something brand new. We then assigned each family member a space. We said, okay, we have 4 family members in our family, And we want to designate a column for each person in our family. So that way it's easy for us to organize the shoes, and it's easy for the kids to know where their shoes are going to be organized at. Now it's time to set an order. We have all of these shoes sorted into individuals and how frequently we are using them. And now we are putting them in their place. And we put all these shoes where they were designated to go. This worked out really effectively. But while we were doing this, we realized we needed to include the area for kicking off and putting on our shoes. Looking at how the storage unit was set up, it made a lot of sense to designate the lower cubbies as the kickoff area for your shoes. This ended up being really, really convenient because I could easily kick off my shoes and just kick them into the cubby. This was also effective because it could hold 2 pairs of frequently used shoes for each family member. And to this day, our kids are really keeping their shoes in the cubbies, and it is keeping it really organized. We now decide to standardize. This is where we added some labels. We add labels to each column to show who owns each column in terms of the kids and for the parents. And then we also said, okay, we have some of these rare use shoes. They go in the storage ottoman, and we put a label on that storage ottoman to tell people where those shoes go when they're done. Once we had all the labels on, it was time to shine up the area to make sure it was nice and polished and clean. It's really easy to maintain a really well looking area when it looks really nice, when it looks really clean. Anytime someone steps into a clean area, they automatically feel like they need to keep it a little bit more clean, just naturally. So it's natural to shine up the area, clean it up, vacuum everything out, and now that you have a nice, neat area, everyone is going to feel like they need to maintain it even more. I now made sure that there were some good ergonomic spaces for people to sit and put on the shoes. We had those flanking the organization system, so that way it would be easy for anyone to put on and take off their shoes. I now needed to really set some expectations with my kids and with my wife. I went through with all of them. Here's what the new process is. Here is what we're working with. Here is how we are going to organize all these things and how you need to put your shoes in these cubbies each and every day. Now that everything is in place, it's time to sustain. And starting off, we're going to sustain this once every 1 or 2 weeks, just to kind of check in, see how things are doing. And then once things look like they're very stable, then we will check in on these once every 3 to 6 months. This is still really important because as new shoes come into the house, new requirements come up, we will be able to change what is working within the system and adapt to whatever comes our way. So now we had a really great functional area, but there were a bunch of little additional details that I want to go over to make sure you understand how we made everything work and work effectively. The first of these is tall boots and muddy shoes. We actually took all of the tall boots and put them on top of the organizational system. That way it was easy for them to stick up and they fit really well. In addition, we took anything that was going to become muddy and we put them in a corner just adjacent to the organizational system. This way, it was easy for me to find those shoes for doing any muddy tasks because it was frequently me doing those tasks. And it was easy for us to not put those muddy shoes into the organizational system at any point. So that way it's not going to make our nice clean system dirty. Another thing is the open cubby design. You can actually buy these cubbies where they have doors on them, or you can buy them where they're clear or they're opaque. This is really not something you want in this sort of a system. For one thing, if it's a clear door, then it's going to get dirty and you're going to have to clean it. And every single time you want to access those shoes, you have to open the door and you have to close it. And then with an opaque door, sure, it hides the shoes away, but now you can't tell what's there. Now you can't see, okay, are my shoes in there? And now you might have to hunt through several doors to actually find your shoes. And that's the exact opposite of what we want to happen. This is not to say that I'm a sneakerhead myself. I know a lot of people really care a lot about their shoes and they really want to be able to store their shoes nicely. If you're that into your shoes, I would highly recommend that you put your shoes up in your closet or somewhere inside your house. So that way you have a nice organized area for your nice sneakers to live. We also used ergonomics. Ergonomics are really important for this space. I looked at how to organize this where we have the shoes set up as well as have some seating areas off to each side of the storage unit. This way, people can really sit down easily and put on and take off their shoes. This makes it just a little bit easier and a little bit more natural. If you don't have those places to sit, people are likely to go someplace else to take off their shoes. And anytime they're going to go someplace else, they might leave those shoes someplace else. So it's important to have a place where you can actually sit down, put on, take off your shoes. Now, you might not always need it, but when you do, you do. And that's important to have in this setup. I don't feel like you need a really long bench seat. Some of the solutions out there have long bench seats, and they might only have one row of cubby holes. And I would actually say I'd rather have more cubby holes and fewer seats, because being able to kick off your shoes into those cubby holes is really important, and just have all the storage readily available. So that's my 2 cents on it. So let's go over the time savings that we find in terms of this system. I estimated that implementing this change saves us about 2 minutes per person per day. That comes out to 8 minutes for our entire family each day. This adds up to 48.5 hours per year. And over 18 years, that's enough time to take a 9-day vacation. In addition to the time savings, it also freed up a lot of floor space. And I calculated out that based on our cost per square footage in our area per year, this would have saved about $100 per year in terms of floor space. It also made our mental clarity just a lot better. Anytime you walk into a space that is disorganized, is cluttered, is chaotic, it just saps your energy. Entering into this space that's nice, clean, organized, is well thought out, it is just much easier to go through, and it really makes our area stress-free. It is also incredibly efficient. When you are looking for those rare use items, you know exactly where they are. You don't have to hunt through the pile of shoes. You don't have to look for every little thing. It makes it that much easier for you to find what you need every single time. I was definitely searching for shoes all the time, whether it was me searching for my kids' shoes or me searching for one of my set of shoes that had wandered away from the other pair. What you find is that your shoes really get chaotic really rapidly. And it's important to have this organization so that way you don't have to deal with finding these shoes all the time. That time adds up a lot. And let me tell you, it may be more than 2 minutes every single day that you're saving. This also keeps your shoes in a lot better condition. Because your shoes aren't having dirty shoes placed on top of them, because your shoes are not being mixed in with your kids' shoes and getting mud on them, your formal shoes stay a lot cleaner and don't need polishing, and the shoes that you really want to take care of get a lot less stains. So it's a lot better to maintain the shoes that you have. At the same time, this area is just a lot safer. If you can think having a pile of shoes right where you come in and out of the house every time, you can imagine how much of a hazard that is. I'll tell you, I tripped on those shoes every now and then. Now that we don't have that problem, we never have any problems getting in and out of the house. And you don't even have to look down when you come in and out of the house, because there aren't any shoes strewn across the floor. This simple shoe organization has really saved our family a lot of time, has saved our family a lot of space and a lot of stress. And I have found that it has really helped our family stay organized and stay safe. It has been really easy to implement, and we have really seen great results. If you're tired of tripping over shoes and wasting a lot of time looking for your shoes, give this system a try. I promise you'll see the benefits. If you implement it, please let me know how it worked out in the comments section, and please like and subscribe. Thanks a lot for joining me. Bye.